Alright, well, I'm doing a quick reaction because this video came out yesterday. I wasn't gonna expect to. Again, I did not expect to see a video of the FlickPix reaction to M. Night Shyamalan's Old, but Andre finally reviews Black Widow, and I've been waiting because I'm gonna say it. It's like I said, I love Andre. He has a sort of fun energy, but it's a fun energy that's like at least tolerable most of the time because Andre, I think he's smart enough to. You know what? I really got no words. All I just want to know is I want to see this video. I want to see Black Nerd Talk Andre. I do not know if he gets to do one thing in this video that he has not done ever since 2019. As I would go nuts just to see that. Alright, let's just watch this video. Please, Andre. Please give me a review that I probably might agree with, aside from the honest trailer.
I know I am super late talking about this movie, Black Widow, but considering that the movie itself also feels kind of super late, isn't it appropriate? Hey, it's Andre, and
Oh.
yes, I'm going to talk to you today about Black Widow, my thoughts about the movie. What I also want to tell you is that this video is sponsored by Surfshark. Yeah, whether you're going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Extended Universe, or even the Warner 3000 serververse in Space Jam, you want to be traveling through the internet without trackers, hackers, or data thieves trying to take your internet profile or activity. Surfshark is a virtual private network or VPN that keeps your internet personal profile and activity safe and secure. You can use one account across multiple devices, and they don't even have your data because they have a strict no logs policy. But what's really cool about Surfshark is that you're able to log into servers internationally, which means that streaming services which have different movies and TV shows in different countries, you can access all of it wherever it is. So if there's a movie or show that you want and it's not on Netflix in your country, but it's on Netflix in another country, you just log into that country and boom, it's on your Netflix. Or there's an entire section of Disney Plus called Star that you can now get to internationally. And all this is being done while keeping you private and safe online. So if you want to sign up for Surfshark, click the link in the description. And if you use my code BNC, you get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. Just click the link in the description. Thank you so much, Surfshark, for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about some Black Widow. Spoiler alert, there will definitely be spoilers in this video about Black Widow, so you have been warned. Spoilers. So Black Widow is the long overdue solo movie for Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, aka Scarlett Johansson. Spoiler alert, we know that she dies in Avengers Endgame, so this is going back in time a little bit. This takes place after Civil War when she was on the run, but before Infinity War. They even had Thunderbolt Ross make a cameo looking for Black Widow, sending troops out, be like, go give me that Black Widow! Check every outhouse, every townhouse, every side house! Really, Andre? The Fugitive references, what year is this, 1994? Reconnecting with her quote-unquote family.
Essentially, that is. From what I hear, Scarlett Johansson actually said that one of the inspirations for this movie was The Fugitive. So, although I will say, People Ross is kind of just restricted to yet another cameo. I feel like they have yet to give T-Bolt Ross a full big role. I think he's coming back in She-Hulk. I don't know for sure.
And finding out the Red Room where she was raised, where they take girls and make them into soldiers, this whole Russian thing that they're doing behind the scenes, very evil, very corrupt. She finds out that that is still going on, and she is determined to take it down. With the help of her quote-unquote sister, Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, who is probably going to be the new Black Widow. I loved the opening title sequence of this movie. Shows you the backstory in montage form of Natasha and all the girls that go through the Red Room, and just how dark and dangerous it is, and how they're trained, and some of them die, and they're experimented on creating this fake family, even creating like fake family moments in order to keep themselves in sleeper cells so that the Russians can like spy and figure out what's going on in America. And then the guy that's running the whole thing is also dabbled into politics and everything, even though he's got this going on behind the scenes. And it's all set to a dark cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit. Here we are now, entertain us. This sequence is very well done. It's intense.
Actually, pretty much one of my favorite. Here's the thing. Usually I always Marvel is very restrictive when it comes to front credits. Weirdly enough, and it depends. Like, okay, the Marvel movies that have front credits, The Incredible Hulk, because they're paying homage to the show. Iron Man 2. It's the scene with you know, Ivan Vanko making his version of the arc reactor, and it's a pretty cool set to this dark score by Don Debney. And the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, obviously, which work because it's Guardians of the Galaxy. And the Marvel is very restrictive for front credits, and I feel like it's because they have to know how to do front credits right. But I'm glad that like for the first film of Phase 4, like we finally get to see a front credit scene. I thought that was awesome. It reminded me a lot of like Man on Fire. I guess essentially they were trying to look for like Bond movies because like the opening covers, like the opening like Bond movies have front credits. They're supposed to have front credits, obviously. But yeah.
It's dark, it's depressing, and it has DuckTales. At one point, the girls are watching DuckTales. Not that new DuckTales. I'm talking old school Disney afternoon DuckTales, which I guess is supposed to be like their pop culture training, like
Or also a meta reference to the fact that Marvel is owned by Disney.
because they're taken away from the rest of the world. They need to know what's going on in the world. And it's sad because everyone else is like, oh my God, this is so intense. I'm all like, DuckTales! What's wrong with me? I don't trust DuckTales anymore. They're a part of this. DuckTales is the enemy. Danger. Watch behind ya. There's a stranger out to find ya. Solve a mystery. Rewrite history. DuckTales. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Andre, this is why I love Andre. He is like fully energetic. Oh man, I'm surprised no one reacts to videos with Andre. I love Andre.
I know this is supposed to be ScarJo's movie, but I'm sorry. For me, she was upstaged by two other people. David Harbour as Red Guardian. Oh my gosh, I want to see a whole show about him. He is a super soldier just like Captain America. He was actually supposed to reveal himself before Captain America. Like, it's supposed to be this whole like space race thing of super soldiers. So he's all upset because Captain America is like this big time superstar, and he feels like if he would have gotten out there first, he would have been big time. And even though he's a little pudgy now, he's let himself go a little bit, he still has that strength. We see that in one part where he like arm wrestles a dude and he breaks that dude's hand,
Yeah.
and it hurt when I saw it. It was all like this. It was all like, ugh. And he's got this accent like he's freaking Boris and Natasha, but he's just really good in it. I just really like his character. I hope that
essentially, yeah, Pottsylvanian. Oh man, I remember trying to rewatch. I'm surprised there's never a Rocky. I've never seen there's a part of the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. Don't ask why. Where it's a meh-ish movie. I'm actually in the middle of watching it, and the part where RBTV, you know, it's like, oh, so this is essentially test audiences if you put Justice League in front of the cover, and then it's like the audience, Warner Brothers, it works. I really gotta. If I have a better. If I have a PC instead of a laptop, I would probably make that meme. I just insert a clip from Justice League, in front of something from Rocky and Bullwinkle. It's like, I'll be fair. This is how the movie was made.
in some way we get to see him again. And then Florence Pugh, Yelena, she just freaking kills it. She is the star of this movie, no question. It's kind of weird.
Yes, I love it. I love Florence Pugh. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I love Scarlett Johansson. Really. But Florence Pugh was awesome in this film. Yeah, I guess it's because she's quickly becoming one of my new favorite actresses. Kind of like Thomasin McKenzie, who was in Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, I just really love Florence Pugh, and I'm glad that more people are starting to recognize her. It makes me so happy that more people are like starting to see the talent of Florence Pugh. Also, she's just funny. Yeah. Also, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm trying to be professional. That's a reference that no one will ever get. Being professional.
Because this movie was always billed as this is the Black Widow movie you've been wanting for years. Natasha finally gets her own film, but it's also technically like a backdoor pilot for the new Black Widow. And, well, good job. The whole time, every line, every delivery that this woman makes, float pew. It's so great. I particularly love the part where she makes fun of Black Widow's superhero stand. She's like, why do you always come down here and you flip your hair back like someone's watching you?
I'm not afraid to admit that weirdly turned me on. Or maybe it's Florence Pugh. She has that. She's very enticing.
love that so much. And then it's funny because later on in the movie, she does it herself. And she's just like, ugh. And she also has some very interesting things to say to Natasha because she's like, yeah, you and I, we not that different, but because you were palling around with the Avengers, everyone's calling you a hero. Meanwhile, I'm a criminal, but we do the same thing. She said some line that she was like, I'm not the killer that little girls look up to and call a hero or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's good. She is great. And we also learn where Black Widow's vest came from in Infinity War. That cool vest that she was wearing. We find out that that was actually Elena's vest, and she gave it to her at the end of the movie. And it's like, aw, how cute.
I like your vest. God, I knew it.
Every compilation is just this best scene. I love it. Where she's like, "It's so cool, right?" I don't have a sister, but yeah, I bet for people who have had sisters, it's like that. Nat, I like your vest. Yelena, finally, it's like that. Yes, finally, you agree with me. Oh man. Yeah. I remember there was a Reddit a subreddit post where it was like, oh man, I remember there was the meanest one where it's like, Chernobyl worker, the reactor isn't that hot. The reactor, and it's a picture of Florence Pugh as Yelena. I'm like, yes, that is accurate. No, I can. Besides, she's already dating Zach Braff. He's a lucky guy, though. Lucky bastard. I'm pretty sure that's the reason people hate Zach Braff is like, as Florence Pugh. Man, I remember. Speaking of that, since I mentioned Zach Braff, I remember so many people like when I was like, "Oh, she's dating the guy from Scrubs." Lucky bastard. And everyone's like, or probably Karens on YouTube, on Twitter, were like, "Oh man, he's like too old to date her to be her belief." So and Florence Pugh was like, she literally responded and was like, "It's none of your goddamn business." Let me remind you, Jason Statham. Since I'm at it, let's see. How old is see? I think someone stated this out. Jason Statham, Rosie Huntington White, Rosie age gap. Let's see. Huntington Whiteley. Um, Rosie Huntington Whiteley. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think yeah, Rosie, yeah, attractive woman who mostly a model. I've only really seen her in two movies. Transformers 3, which she was the Megan Fox replacement that nobody cared about. And then she was in Mad Max Fury Road, in which she did a surprisingly good job in that movie as one of the wives. All right, 34 years old, Jason Statham. Let's see, how old is Jason Statham? 53 goddamn years old. Like, hold on. Oh wait, yeah, sort of like a near 20-year age gap. A goddamn 20-year age gap between Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington Whiteley. No one's gonna bat an eye. Zach Braff is dating Florence. He's a Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. 25-year age gap, and they're still together. Man, I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. I remember watching The Phantom just because she was in it. Also, I love rewatching the Zorro movies whenever I get a chance to. I grew up rewatching The Legend of Zorro a million times because Okay, fine. I will say, since I am born in a devout evangelist family, I mean, I was mostly restrictive, although, to be fair, I did see my first R-rated film when I was 12 years old. American Pie. I have nostalgia for American Pie just because it was the first R-rated movie I saw, and I can't believe. I don't know if this is gonna sound sexist, but that scene with Shannon Elizabeth. Of course, nowadays you can't really do that scene because that would not go a-okay at all. I'm like, yeah, this would not be okay. Everyone would be tech savvy, and she would know immediately what the hell is going on. That bedroom scene did a lot of things for me. A lot of things. Although my favorite one is American Pie 2. I think it's because it's when Stifler gets peed on by the MILF guys. Oh. Yeah, it was a Black Widow video, and then I started going into a different direction. Let's just go back. But yeah, it's still yeah. Who knows if Florence Pugh doesn't do that breath anymore? I'm available.
I knew you did. It's so cool, right?
The other characters are fine as well. Rachel Weisz is
Rachel, yes, I actually want to see more of Molina in this. Because one, I love Rachel Weisz. I love her. She's also 50 years old. Let's see. Since I'm pausing the video constantly, Rachel Weisz, then and now. Let's see what it is. I think this is from The Mummy. Actually, this is from. Is this a premiere of The Mummy? Look at this. She still looks great. I don't think she's aged since The Mummy. Also, I've been recently watching a lot of Mummy videos, and so many people have said that, like, Evie. I gotta say it, Evie Carnahan O'Connell was like, well, in the first movie she's Evie Carnahan, and then in the second one she's married to Rick, Brendan Fraser's character, and she's like, she has so much good character development because, like, in the first one, she doesn't have any fighting skills, but she's a smart archaeologist, she's a smart librarian, she has, you know, she has a huge love of Egypt, Egyptian history, and yeah, she leads an expedition. She uncovers everything, and then in the second one, got a pretty much cool development. Regardless of your opinions on Mummy Returns, one cannot deny that Rachel Weisz is a better character development in that one because it's like she's instantly a badass. Just like for example, and also Rick gets a few changes. Like, apparently, I think she works at the British Museum, and then it's like, how the hell are we gonna open this door? And then it's like, hold on. I'm very sorry. Oh God. Ugh. Sorry, yeah. She works at the British Museum, and then like chisel in a tiny stone thing here, and then Rick holds it. Is like, really? And she's like, "Oh, fine, we'll do it your way." And then Rick's like, "All right." And when they find the casket that holds the bracelet of Anubis, she's like trying so hard to open it with a crowbar. And Rick's like, "Hey, hun, let's do it your way." And then they find the key instantly. It's like, man, I feel like Mummy Returns is underrated. Sure, compared to the first movie, there are problems. CG The Rock. But I really enjoy The Mummy Returns. For me, that's where the Mummy movies end, because then Mummy 3 happened. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor happened, and I hate talking about that movie, so let's just continue with this video, because I bet we are now 20 minutes into this damn thing. I know it, 20 minutes.
good, but I don't think we got enough of her. I feel like there's more
Yes,
to.
I really wanted to get more Rachel Weisz. Hashtag more Rachel Weisz, please. Please. Also, hashtag she will always be my Evie.
Her story. I felt so bad for that pig. The technology that Rachel Weisz's character did, where she like stopped the pig from breathing, and I was like, that poor pig. Oh, get him up! And then there's a friend zone dude. I'm sorry. There's this dude that helps out Natasha throughout the movie, like gets her planes and weapons and all this stuff. And just right near the end of the movie, she's like, "You're such a great friend." And I was like, "Dang!" So there's
Yeah. I'm pretty sure OT Fag Bentley. I really did actually also enjoyed OT Fag Bentley's character. I thought, oh, he's gonna be that. But that's kind of funny. He's like, oh yeah, I got you a few stuff here. He's like the friend zone character. I do hope he comes back. I actually want to see more. There are so many characters I want to see more of now. I mean, obviously, I want to see more of Florence Pugh's Yelena. I want to see more of Red Guardian. Actually, give us more David Harbour as the Red Guardian. More Rachel Weisz, please, because I love Rachel Weisz. I want to see more of OT Bentley. He's trying to, hit on Yelena. It's like, hey, I got you this thing here. It's like, why didn't you try to get it on with my sister? You know you have. I want to see more of that. Yeah, the you've been a good friend. It's like, no, not the friend zone, not the friend zone. Let's see, OT Fag Bentley. I think he shows up. Oh, also I.
dude that helps out Natasha throughout the movie, like gets her planes and weapons and all this stuff. And just right near the end of the movie, she's like, "You're such a great friend." And
That is not the friend zone. That is the Jorah zone. Oh man. Oh yeah, it's like yeah, that's like the Jorah zone, except Nat isn't trying to rule over the Seven Kingdoms. Six Kingdoms. It's been 2 years since I've seen Game of Thrones, and I've had nowhere to rewatch it after what happened in the final season.
I was like, dang. So there's a lot of action sequences in this thing. I personally like the hand-to-hand stuff, like the real close combat stuff, like the fight that Natasha and Elena have, some of the fights they have with the other widows, because you find out that the widows are actually being controlled. That's what Yelena finds out, and she gets it taken out of her, and so that's why she tries to reach out to Natasha. So they have to sometimes fight other widows. We'll talk about this character later, but even the fight with Natasha and Taskmaster when they have a fight very early on in the movie, like that whole thing is really good too. So whenever that was happening, whenever those like fights or knives being thrown around was happening, punches and kicks, that stuff was really good because I felt like that was the stuff where I really felt it. Like there were some times when people got hit in this movie and I was like, ooh, that I can feel that, it hurts. But that being said, some of the big time action stuff, like the whole jailbreak scene with the snow falling down, I thought that was pretty cool. I liked all the car chase stuff. This movie had a mix of comedic stuff and dark stuff. I can't help but to feel like it was done on purpose. I felt like the balance was meant to be there on purpose. It's PG-13, so they didn't go too far, but when they need to go there sometimes, they went there, especially towards the end when you start feeling out the plot of like how this dude has been putting girls all over the world and been starting wars behind the scenes. It's like political espionage / using other people. But it's just interesting to see how this movie that I thought was going to be like super serious and intense actually had a lot of comedic moments. It was a lot of funny stuff in this movie. Again, because of Flo Pugh and Red Guardian, they really brought a lot of humor in this. I know it's probably a random thing to say, but I like that white suit. I don't know what it is about that white snowsuit on Black Widow, but I was like, that's a good look. I like that. I know it was probably a new outfit to go, now we can make new figures and Funko Pops, but still, nice suit, looking sharp. So I feel
Yeah, I have a feeling Andre's been having dreams.
bad that this is a thing that I have to criticize the movie on because it's technically not the movie's fault, but it's just something that has to be said. A Black Widow movie should have happened a while back. Like the fact that we've known about Black Widow since Iron Man 2 and we're just now getting a solo movie about her after we already saw her die in a previous movie. I know this is earlier than that, but still, I feel like this is a movie that should have came out like right after Civil War at least because of the story, but it just seems weird that we're now getting the story later. 2020, also having to wait for this movie to constantly get delayed. That was also kind of a bummer because I feel it took the wind out of it a little bit. And of course, to see this movie after getting the Marvel TV series because this was supposed to come out before the Marvel TV series. So having seen WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, obviously I still want to have Marvel movies, but there's definitely some elements to Black Widow's story especially that I feel like could have really lended itself to a Marvel series. So the fact that some of the characters we don't get a lot of backstory on, we do get that cool opening credit sequence, but we don't get a lot of Natasha's story of her upbringing, which led to where she is today. How awesome would it be if you had a Black Widow series and one episode was dedicated to the story of Red Guardian? Like, that would have been really, really cool. Again, hard to blame the movie for that, but now that we've had that taste, I can't help but sometimes look at Black Widow and go, good movie, but could it have been a better series? Look.
I'm kind of on the opposite. I don't know. I've loved the Marvel TV shows. I loved all of them. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, but I'm gonna have to say it. The show, the movies, in my opinion, well, most of the MCU films have something that I think the TV shows will never have. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because the MCU started off. I feel like it's like when I mean, obviously, Star Wars, for example, the sequel trilogy was bundled up, very badly, and then I think it only works because it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's too much of a good thing. I don't know for sure. But I think it's really the pandemic's fault. Because, yeah, it's China's fault for unleashing the Wu. Don't get me wrong, I love Chinese people. I just hate the Chinese government. Chinese government can burn in a hole for all I care. I hope that if this pandemic does end, I want God to unleash the 10 plagues of Egypt upon them. I want the rivers in China to run red as blood. I want locusts soaring around. I want frogs raining on China as like, yeah, this is your fault, China. You almost ruined the cinemas for us, China. I mean, we're keeping your Jackie Chan. So, but first we got to bring all your martial art actors out because we love your martial artist actors. For me, that's the best thing China ever gave us was martial arts Hong Kong cinema. So I mean, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Tanya, those guys. Just yeah, because they are awesome guys and they're probably nicer and they're not like their government. Man, there's just so much shit going on because of Chloe Zhao being persona non grata in China. And I'm like, wait, is this the same China that unleashed their virus upon us because they wanted to play God? I find it hard to side with China. I know. The only time I think people really, China really got along with anyone was when Mulan came out and they were boycotting it. And Mulan wasn't a good movie, anyways, but I saw it. I was like, huh? This is nothing. And they filmed the scene in Mulan at a Chinese concentration camp. And China was angry at that. And I remember someone was like, oh, I don't know what's going to be because, Chloe Zhao, director of Eternals, is in a bit of a feud with China now. I'm like, to be fair, I wouldn't really side with China. The only time I ever did side with them recently was because of Mulan. But no. Once again, I do not hate Chinese people. I just hate the Chinese government for unleashing the virus upon us. I know your secrets, Chinese government, and I will be coming after you. I will find you, and I will kill you. Yeah, I'm gonna get canceled by my Chinese audience. Who knows? I am tired of saying it. The reason a Black Widow movie was delayed because of goddamn. Let me show you the son of a bitch responsible for not letting us get a Black Widow movie sooner. This is the goddamn son of a bitch responsible for not letting he did not want movies like Black Panther to get made, for example. He was a racist son of a bitch like Perlmutter. Look, I know people are they're not like me, where I prefer to know more. I'm kind of like the journalist who likes to no more information, like David Frost and Richard Nixon, something like David Frost, for example, when he was interviewing Richard Nixon, trying to find more information, and I am done. I am tired of hearing the same goddamn thing. It's like this movie should have come out sooner. And I remember reading something where it was like, someone tweeted out, I think it was a filmmaker, was like, you don't know how much we've had to sacrifice just to get this made. Like a lot of hard work, blood and sweat. I get it. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done talking. I love you, Andre, but just enough, all right? And again, I really did enjoy the Marvel shows. Loki is probably my favorite of all of them, but they're not the movies, man. I feel like the movies have something more special than I think the TV shows ever will have. That's just me, though. You can say I'm biased. I am, but I'm biased for the right reasons.
Look, I don't like to nitpick about what a person can do in a fictional movie. I know it's really weird to sometimes go, oh, that character would have been dead at this point. But there are definitely some moments in Black Widow where I go, she's not a super soldier, right? Like, she doesn't have superpowers. This particularly falls into play in the third act. They find out that the Red Room is like in the sky and they have to go up there and blow it up. And so you get all these pieces of it falling down, and Black Widow is falling and Taskmaster is falling, and Black Widow is literally in midair landing on platforms and jumping off of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, if Captain America did that, I probably wouldn't ask any questions, or anyone that flies did that. But this is like a person, right? Black Widow is a person. I know she's a very well-trained person. I mean, that Red Room's terrible, but apparently they got y'all skin hard. They're wrong. Bad them, but geez, you can survive almost anything. There's one point where Black Widow, she's like falling down a building, and she literally she does like one of those freaking cartoon, like you hit every branch of a tree when you're coming down, like, ooh, that happens to her on this building where she's like, pipe, 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 lands on her feet. I'm like, what? I know it's wrong. It's a superhero movie. You're not supposed to think about it that hard. But there was just a couple of times where I'm like, all right, y'all, okay. Okay. All right. So, Taskmaster. This is clearly the character that has been talked about a lot online. So let's get into it. I'm going to try to explain this as best as possible. First time I really got a clear sense of who Taskmaster was, honestly, was from playing the Square Enix Marvel's Avengers game when Black Widow fights Taskmaster early on in the game. And I was like, oh, this is a cool character. So, of course, I did some extra research. Like, oh, this character is really awesome because Taskmaster has the ability to copy any of the moves of the other Avengers, has like a photographic memory. And it's like, if I see what you do, then I can do it too. So we find out in the movie that Taskmaster is actually the daughter of the main guy. Black Widow thought that she killed her in an explosion years ago. That's the red on her ledger thing. But then we find out that she did survive, but she's, of course, was hurt really bad. They like put a chip in her, and that gives her like a technological photographic memory to like watch all the Avengers moves and then copy them, and then of course has a shield and Wakanda claws and swords and all that stuff. And also is a woman. Now let me make this clear. I do not have a problem with Taskmaster being a woman in the story.
Yeah, I don't too. I just feel like the only part. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know much about Taskmaster. I can admit, at this point, nothing surprises me. No matter what you do, comic book fans are just gonna be like, no, I wanted this. Shut the fuck up. Oh shit, I just said the F. So that's the only time I'm ever gonna say it, though. One of my Hulk fans did not like Professor Hulk. I personally did. Why? Because we've already got scenes of Hulk kicking ass throughout the MCU. At this point, it would feel like fatigue. It would feel like goddamn fatigue. Ugh. The only part that really hurts me is because I knew of Olga Kurylenko being in the movie, and I love Olga Kurylenko. I mean, she's a really great actress, and she's a really beautiful woman too. Will not lie about that. I think that Olga Kurylenko is a very attractive woman. I love her. I just feel like she was wasted. That's the only problem. Is like you have Olga Kurylenko in this movie, and you waste her.
Story makes sense. What I do have an issue with is I saw the opportunity of this being a long-term Marvel villain. I think this is a really cool character in general. So I looked at Taskmaster as being the possible villain that we could see go across multiple Marvel movies because of the fact that Taskmaster is able to copy the moves of any other Marvel hero, any other Avenger. So now that we have characters like Shang-Chi coming up, or we might be getting Blade in the future, any of these other characters, the question becomes, how does Taskmaster try to replicate those moves? Either on their own or creating some kind of tech to replicate that move. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been fascinating to me. Now I don't know if that's going to happen because it's revealed who she is. She's also, like, I guess, brought back to normal, and the other widows who got free take her away. So it's either she's gone, or if she comes back, she might be a hero unless someone tries to Winter Soldier her and use her again. And
Unless they probably introduce Tony Masters. How about it? Marvel Army will be like, you know, she could probably be like someone working at the Avengers compound at this point. You know, like one of the new Avengers. She just becomes the lead scientist alongside Molina. Marvel, seriously, hire me as your creative consultant. I can do a lot that you guys do not know about. Do I know much about the comics? No, not much. I just really prefer what's best for the movie anyway, so I am fluent in a few comics, but yeah.
it also doesn't speak. Yeah, they pulled a freaking X-Men Origins Wolverine Deadpool on Taskmaster. I just
The
felt like
fact
there was
that
something there for the MCU as a whole that character could have been into. I feel like Taskmaster should have been either fleshed out a little bit more or maybe not even used in this movie. They could have just made that some generic face can't be seen under a mask type of character and we could have saved Taskmaster for later. That's what I have the problem with. Does that all make sense? All this being said, I actually love Taskmaster's suit. It kind of felt like a Power Ranger, and I want to see that suit or something like that in a future Power Rangers movie or series. Can we make that happen? Can we get a Taskmaster Ranger? Okay, the last thing that I liked about this movie, I had to leave it to the end because we saw it at the end, and that is the after credit scene of this movie. It takes place after Endgame. Natasha is dead. Yelena's at the grave, sad, and who shows up? Val. That's right. Julia Louis-Dreyfus shows up. My understanding from things that I read and also from the release date that this movie was supposed to have, I think this was supposed to be the first appearance of Val, and then in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier later, which would have probably made sense because they don't really say a lot about her here. So it feels like it would have been one of those things like, wait, why is Julia Louis-Dreyfus here? Who's Val? Let's do our internet research. Let's talk about it for several months. And then when she showed up in the Falcon and Winter Soldier with more details, it's like, see, now that internet person was right. Now this kind of just feels like a cool cameo that we got after being introduced.
from what I know, this was supposed to be a parallel to the first Iron Man movie where, right at the end of the film, Sam Jackson as Nick Fury shows up. But given, like I said, China wanted to destroy America, and they still are trying to, did they just invent the new Delta virus, from what I hear? Yeah, there's actually a Delta thing going on now. There's actually a virus called Delta. Delta variant, whatever it is. Just when I think I have seen everything, I haven't seen it all. It's like, yep, Delta. Yeah, it's essentially this. It's like, wow, Delta Airlines is really gonna have a dip in terms of like costs, like Delta stocks, Delta Airlines. Hey, if Elon Musk has a spaceship, I want to get the hell off this planet. Just wait until this virus is over. I'll get free HBO, maybe. I don't know.
To her in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. They pretty much set up what I'm guessing is going to take place in the Hawkeye series because Val's like, "Oh, you sad, Yelena, that your sister is dead? Well, I know the person that killed her, quote unquote." And she shows Yelena a picture of Hawkeye, like, "Yeah, go get him." And it's like, "I'm gonna go get him." It was such a good moment. Like the moment they showed that picture of Hawkeye, everyone in my theater was like, "Ooh!" I'm guessing she's showing up in Hawkeye. Can anyone confirm this? I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but that's what pretty much this scene was trying to tell me. She is on the hunt for Hawkeye now. She's like, "You took Natasha out, so I've been told. So you and freaking Haley Steinfeld better come at me because I'm going for you." So yeah, man. Overall, I enjoyed this movie. It is a good mid-level Marvel movie. It's not in my top tier Marvel list. I dug the personal relationships. I dug the conversational comedy. I dug the hand-to-hand combat. I felt pretty good about it. It's just not one of those Marvel movies that got me like all crazy, like when I came out of Black Panther or the Avengers movies or Guardians of the Galaxy. It was just like, oh, this is a good one. So what did you think about Black Widow? Did you see it? Did you like it? Where is it on your Marvel ranking list if you have such a thing? But you don't have to have such a thing. You don't have to rank every Marvel movie. And thank you so much for watching this. Again, I know this is a little bit later. I was just really deep into talking about Loki, so I just wanted to get that done. And then once that was done, I was like, all right, I should probably go back and talk about Black Widow. But I don't know if I'm gonna do F9 because every time I try to do Fast and Furious movies, no one watches it on my channel. I don't know why. They're superheroes too. Give this.
Essentially, yes, they are superheroes. Because in the recent one, they just go, oh, there's so much shit that goes on. I actually want to see Andre talk about the Fast and Furious films, and then he's gonna do Fear Street.
Video thumbs up if you like it. If you're new here, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000.
Eh, alright. Well, the video is more enjoyable for Andre alone, I guess. Uh-huh. I probably got nothing left to add. I have a few disagreements with Andre. Although, if I were to rank this, it's not in my top 5, it's somewhere in the top 10. So, say somewhere where, alright, here's what my top 5 consists of Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, Thor Ragnarok, and the first Iron Man movie. And then, number 6 I know is Iron Man 2. That's just my personal preference. At least it's not Iron Man 3. Uh, then I think Winter Soldier. I think this movie, then Black Panther, and then Doctor Strange. So that's somewhere on the top 10. I know people would have rather preferred a TV show, but like I said, I just have a feeling that I find more joy in the MCU movies than probably I did the TV shows. I love the TV shows. I'm glad that Marvel is trying to go a separate, different direction. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a different side. It's probably why I find myself disagreeing with a lot of my favorite critics. But hey, I love this video because Andre did it. At least he finally talked about it. Yeah, but yeah, he thought. Here's something that's weird. Lots of critics thought the movie was okay, but they thought for Space Jam: A New Legacy, it's like you know what you're getting yourself into. So no, I really do have differences. All right, I gotta end the video here. I have so much more to record. Oh, dear Lord Almighty. Alright, I'll leave a link to the original video down below. Link to Andre's channel, because he really deserves all that love. Link to my Instagram. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you do subscribe. Hit the bell to stay notified if I do a new video. Godspeed, everybody. Take care.